Hello friends, in this video we'll see what are the errors which are not disclosed in a trial balance using different examples. Come, let us move into the video. First example is, let us take the transaction wherein we have bought goods on credit for ₹1000 from Mr. Suresh. So what will happen to the trial balance if we make a mistake here? So for easy understanding throughout this video, I am just taking one example and explaining the trial balance with that one particular transaction alone. So the trial balance will have only two accounts. But in reality, as all of us know, the concerns will have n number of accounts in the trial balance. Come, let us move into the first example. So here, when we have bought goods on credit, the current entry should have been purchases account debtor to Suresh account. But imagine we have made a mistake in the amount wherein the entry is correct. Instead of 1000 rupees, we have written it as 100 rupees. So with this wrong journal, when we now post it into the ledger will also be wrong with the wrong amounts. So this is the specimen of the wrong ledger wherein the amount is 100 and the balance of purchases account turns to be a debit balance of ₹100. Similarly, the credit balance of Suresh account will also be ₹100 because we have made a mistake in the entry. Instead of 1000, we have written it as 100. Now let us see how it will look in the trial balance. In the trial balance, the purchases account is also having a 100 rupees balance and Suresh account is also having a 100 rupees balance. So the trial balance is tallied. Thus, this error is not at all disclosed in the trial balance. So what do we learn from this example? When an error is made in the journal, then the error is not disclosed in the trial balance because from the journal we prepare the ledger and from ledger we prepare the trial balance. So the error is not disclosed in the trial balance. Similarly, we made the mistake of recording the wrong amount on both the sides, that is the credit side and the debit side. In both ledgers, we recorded it as ₹100 instead of ₹1000. So when we make the same error on both the sides, then also the error is not disclosed in the trial balance. Come, let us move to the second example. The second example is, we have bought a plant for ₹80,000. So this is like a purchase of an asset. So let us imagine a mistake in this transaction and see how it reflects in the trial balance. So the correct entry should have been plant account debtor to cash account by debiting and crediting 80,000 respectively. But what we have done is, we have just oppositely put it as cash account debtor to plant account. As all of us know, plant and cash both are real accounts. The real account golden rule is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. But here we have overdone the rule. That is, we have crossed the rule and we have interchanged the accounts and we have did the wrong entry here. We have done it as cash account debtor to plant account. So with this wrong journal entry, we have changed the purchase of plant into a sale of plant transaction because we are showing as if cash has come into our concern and we have gave our plant. So the purchase of a plant has now turned into a sale of plant because of the wrong journal recording. So let us see whether it will be disclosed or not disclosed in the trial balance now. So here is a comparison of the effects of both treatments of the transaction. When you treat it as purchase of plant, you debit plant account. That is, you say plant is coming into your business and in return you are giving cash. So the debit side plant, that is the asset, will increase. At the same time, the credit side cash will decrease because you are paying cash. But if you treat it as sale of plant, then cash will increase on the debit side because you are receiving cash. At the same time, plant account will be reduced by 80,000 because plant is moving out of your concern. As you can see here, in both the treatments, the effect is the same. There is one increase in the debit and one decrease in the credit of the same amount, which is 80,000. So whether you treat it as a purchase of plant or sale of plant, the effect is same. The debit is increasing by 80,000 and the credit side is decreasing by 80,000. So this error will not be disclosed in the trial balance. So what are the inferences from this particular example? When we make basic errors in the basic principles, that is what we call it as errors of principles as explained in the previous video, those errors will not be disclosed in the trial balance. Now let us move on to the third example. A transaction which should have been recorded in the purchases book has been recorded in the sales book. Before moving deep into this transaction, let us understand a basic concept, that is the balances of purchases book. What do we record in the purchase book? In the purchase book, we record credit purchases. So from that book, the balance is transferred to the purchases ledger, also to the creditors ledger to verify whether the amounts are same. So a purchases book balance affects two ledgers, purchases ledger and creditors ledger. At the same time, sales book is where we record the credit sales. So sales book balance is taken for consideration in sales ledger as well as in the debtors ledger. So with this understanding, let us move into analyzing this transaction and the effect of this error. Now, as I said, purchases book is credit purchase and the two accounts affected by the purchases book are purchases account and creditors account. And the two accounts affected by the sales book are sales account and debtors account. So purchases account has a debit balance and creditor account has a credit side balance. Similarly, in the sales book affecting two accounts, sales account has a credit side balance and debtor account has a debit side balance. So a transaction when entered in a purchases book, that is what I have mentioned with the braces called correct. When you record it correctly, purchases the debit side will increase and creditors the credit side will also increase because you have to pay the creditor. So the creditor's balance will increase by the respective amount. But in case if you record it wrongly in the sales book, then sales credit side will increase because it means you are receiving money for some goods. Similarly, the debtor side will also increase because it denotes the amount that you have to receive from the debtors. As you can see, anyway the effect is same because on a whole debit side and credit side increase whether you record it in the purchases book or the sales book. So by recording a transaction wrongly in any one of the subsidiary books does not make a difference in the trial balance, because purchases book affects purchases account, creditors account, sales books affects sales account and debtors account, and these two things are respectively on the debit side and credit side. That is, sales book has one effect on the debit side and credit side. Purchases book has one effect on the debit side and credit side. So by recording wrongly in either of the books will not make a difference. Inferences from this particular example would be that entering in the wrong subsidiary book does not affect the trial balance. Also, this also holds good with the fact that we are making an error in the basic principle. That is, we are shifting the transactions from one book to the other book. So it means we are not clear with the basic fundamentals, and so this comes under the errors of principles. Now let us move to the next example. What happens if the recorded amount is incorrect? As I said in the first example, there are two opportunities or two options. If it is made only on the one side, then it will be disclosed. For example, in the first transaction itself, there was a credit sales, or let us imagine a different transaction wherein we have sold goods for 1000 on credit. And in one ledger we are recording it as 1000 and the other ledger we are recording it as 100. Then the mistake will be reflected in the trial balance. At the same time, if we make the same error in both the accounts, then it will not be disclosed. So the incorrect recording of amount will be disclosed only if we make on both the accounts. So now, having seen the errors which are not disclosed, the interesting thing is that how will these errors which are not disclosed in the trial balance be traced and then found out? So here is the general and simple procedure for the same. First, they can check the cash and bank ledgers. Then, if they cannot find mistake in those two ledgers, the carry forwarded amounts from 1 month to the next month, or 1 year to the previous year, from the previous year to the next year are checked. Then still, if the error is not traced, the totals of subsidiary books and cash books should be checked. After that, still if the subsidiary books also do not reveal any errors, then the posting could be verified. Also, extreme points are when the previous year balances are compared with the current year balances of all the accounts. This is done because to find out if there is any huge difference so that error could be identified. For example, the furniture account might have had balance as 10,000 the previous year, and this year if it has 10 lakhs, then obviously it is clear that there is something error in that particular account. So they check the previous year balances and current year balances. Finally, if none of the steps yield results, then the whole process of accounting should be rechecked. That is, from the journal, the ledger, the trial balance, the recording of transactions, posting in the ledger, everything should be rechecked thoroughly. So we come to the end of this video. So this video was exclusively designed only to talk about the errors which are not disclosed in the trial balance, because this is quite a tricky concept and it needs a lot of understanding to understand which are the errors which are not disclosed in the trial balance. Hope this video was useful. Until we meet again in the next video, this is Sangeeta Selvan. Thank you.